through my years in the bank, I did different things. I didn't remain as a customer service officer. So when I got into Canada, how do I apply this knowledge and skills that I'm bringing from my home country? So I felt the easiest and most logical place would be the financial sector.
Thank you, Abby, for making our time to be our guest today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I would like us to start by letting you introduce yourself to my viewers and subscribers.
Okay, so my name is Abiodun Olabooye, Abby for short. I heard you call me Abby, so that's what majority of people call me here. Okay, so Abby grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and she came into Canada sometime in 2021. Abby's background, early years were spent in Lagos, like I mentioned earlier. My secondary school was Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. What we know as high school here was Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. And my university, that's the first degree. I had a Bachelor of Art in English Language and Literature at the University of Ilorin, Kwara State. I went ahead to do my master's in development studies at Bayero University, Kano.
Wow, excellent.
Thank you.
So I see the little research I did. I see you have over 15 years of experience in the banking and fintech industry with expertise in fraud and risk management, compliance, crypto forensics, anti-money laundering, and you have, vast experience in client service delivery, and to capital, you are a certified anti-money laundering specialist.
Yes, correct.
All these achievements didn't happen overnight.
Definitely.
And most often when we see success, our people think maybe this person is coming from a very rich home. And I ask you, are your parents billionaires that made you achieve all of these things?
No, my parents are far from being billionaires. If there was any, I would say we were poor because, when you're content, it doesn't necessarily mean you're rich. But once you're content with whatever you have, you can live life through. So like I said earlier, I grew up in Lagos. And unfortunately, I lost my dad barely 12 years old when I was 12 years old. So my mom was burdened with the responsibility of bringing us up, myself and my siblings, 4. And it was a struggle. You know how it is, something that 2 people did, 2 income in the house. Now one person has to, fend for everybody. It wasn't easy. And she was quite young. She was just barely above 30. Being widowed at that age, you can imagine how that was. I immediately had to assume like an assistant mommy because that's what my siblings called me then.
Yeah.
I saw my mom do everything she had to do just to see us through school. She was very resilient, and that struck a chord in me that whatever I needed to do, I needed to succeed. I needed to reward this woman that has, she left every luxury in quotes that she could go for just to take care of us. So it was not easy growing up, but we're here today and that's all that matters.
Excellent. So when we look at today, part of the reason we, have this podcast is for professionals like you who, have experience both in Africa, in North America, in Canada today. You are you're a compliance specialist in one of the financial institutions here in Canada.
Yeah.
So you've gone through a journey, from your humble beginning to where you are today. And what sets you apart from what I learned, the support from your mom and the education you have. Looking back home, a lot of younger ones, they don't really believe in education these days. Whenever they see success, they don't believe anybody can go through this path and, get to where you are today. And I'm asking, how do you feel looking back, all the challenges and where you are today?
Yes, I share that feeling. I've heard people, young people especially, thinking I can just get rich overnight, I can be successful overnight, I don't have to go to school. I'm here to say that's not correct. No knowledge is lost. Education is very important because no matter what skills you have, you still need some level of education to execute
Absolutely.
the necessary things you need to, perform on that job. So, like I stated earlier, I went ahead to do my master's. After graduation, I got a job with Zenith Bank. Then Zenith Bank was one of the prestigious industries, and people kept on asking me, "How did you get into it?" Because they thought it wasn't easy to get into. But because I was focused, I had a dream from the beginning that I need to do something to change our situation. So I went for the test and I did well and I was given a job. So that alone inspired my other siblings, thinking you don't have to know anybody. You just with your skills, with your education. Education is very key. You need to get all those things on ground before you can even aspire to be anything. So I'm here to say, don't ever think education is not useful. No matter what, you would need whatever you've learnt, whether in the four walls of a classroom or just something some skills you've picked up along the line, all of them will come to use someday. So you cannot overemphasize the importance of education.
I like that. And still on the education piece, so just to re-echo that, you went to Queen's College, Yaba, for your high school
Yes.
education, and then you had your bachelor's at University of Ilorin, and then master's from Bayero University,
Yes.
Kano.
Absolutely.
So talk to me your educational journey. What was your greatest moment in, I would say, your university?
Yes. For my university, I was fortunate to have a mentor. I'll tell you a funny story. So when I got into 100 level, I was in the hostel. Not just freshers were in there. There were others from other levels. And I had some people discussing and say, oh, I had a carryover. Carryover in Nigeria means you are told to repeat a particular course
Course,
of
yeah.
study. So it was the in thing. I heard everybody saying that. But then my mentor, who is my elder brother, told me and said, I asked him, I said, look, the talk around town is you have to have a carryover before you leave the university. Is that true? And he sat me down and said, look, this is your first day. Decide what you want to do, how you want your result to be from day one. You don't need to have a carryover before you graduate. And that's stuck in my head. I always told myself, if this person can do it without a carryover, because he graduated without a carryover, if he could do it without a carryover, I could do that. So that's also the importance of mentoring. Young stars need good mentors because mentors can be of different kind. You need someone
Absolutely.
that will mentor you through the right path. So I had someone that told me and sat me down and said, look, so far you're focused, face your studies, do your assignment as at when due. You don't need to have a carryover. So that was how my university started. And I won't say fortunately because I actually worked for the grades. I came out with a second class upper. And I was amazed. I said, look, so hard work truly pays. You don't expect success when you don't work for it. I had a choice. I could have slept all through the 4 years in school, partied. Though I partied, but I did it with a focus
Yeah.
because you understand. So I was still able to achieve my dreams. And you know what? I was like a mentor to my siblings because all of them told that line. And they
Yeah,
knew that if this person that did it first in our family can do it, then why not?
exactly.
Yeah, so that's my journey. And from there, like I said, I started working and I went with that kind of mindset. If you want anything good, you need to work for it. You need to be dedicated, you need to be focused, you need to persevere. And see me here now.
Wow, this is very inspirational. I like that.
Thank you.
So going back to so Queen's College, Yaba. So if you went to Queen's College, what do you call your what do
Okay,
you
we call ourselves Old Girls Queen's College and we
okay.
have a popular motto, pass on the torch. So next time
Oh,
you see a QC girl, we call it QC. Next time you see a QC girl, just tell them pass on the torch. It's a way of saying pass on the excellence that you have garnered through your stay in school. Pass it on, pass it forth,
interesting.
Excellence.
So if you went to Queen's College, please watch this podcast. This is one of you representing here. So I think for Queen's College, we have Queen's. Is it like a federal thing? Like there is one Queen's school in Enugu as well. So I
Yes,
think they
yes.
have.
It's they call them unity schools. So it's
Oh,
a federal government school. We have Queen's College in Lagos. We have Queen's College Yaba. We have King's College. We have Ijaniki.
I see.
Yes, in Lagos. So
And then
those were all
there's
unity
there's
schools.
Queens in Enugu as well.
Yes,
So I
there's
think
also
it's that
Queen's in
same.
Ilorin, my hometown. So they're all unity schools.
Interesting. Okay, so if you're from there, if you went to this school, this is one of you representing us here. So
Pass on the torch.
exactly. So and then University of Ilorin, what do you call your greatest what?
Greatest in Ilorite, and we call ourselves better by far. So we are better than it's University of Ilorin and others.
I know.
Permit
So,
me to say that.
so if you're watching this podcast, one of you is representing here as well. And then Bayero University.
Yeah, we call ourselves BUK. That's BUK.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm sure they are going to watch this podcast, and this is quite inspirational. So, I know you've touched on it. What message do you have for younger ones, maybe growing up in some challenging situation or wanting to get into university or aspiring to be, a banker, a compliance specialist like you, a risk forensic? You have too many titles and too many experience over the years in the banking sector. If somebody is watching this and saying, "Oh, I would like to be like Abby," what message do you have for them?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is believe in yourself. Be positive. I'm a high believer of being positive. I never see the downside of any situation. I always look at what good can come out from this. So, and our greatest barrier is ourself and our mind. If I see this and I believe I've already given up, I can't do this, then it's my mind telling me I can't do it. But the same mind can tell me, look, why don't you give it a trial? And that can work. So my message is don't be limited. Don't feel you don't have what it takes, right? God created everybody with different skills, knowledge, and or whatnot. So being positive, being focused, perseverance can also be overemphasized because you would meet with some challenges.
Absolutely.
You need to keep
It's
at
part
it.
of life. Yeah.
The end goal should be your focus. What am I intending to achieve in the long run? That should be your focus.
I like that. So let's talk about your transition, from in terms of career. What's your, experience working in Canada? And there are a lot of people who may be wanting to go through your path in terms of getting into financial institutions, compliance, risk, all of those things. And again, you are a certified anti
money laundering specialist.
Specialist. Yeah. So talk to that person wanting to also go through this path. What's the experience like, and what advice do you have for somebody aspiring to be like you in that sense?
Yes. So I would say again, no knowledge is lost. I started as a customer service officer in Zen Bank, what we call client advisors here. And I rose through the rank to become an assistant manager. All through my years in the bank, I did different things. I didn't remain as a customer service officer. I garnered experience in KYC remediation, anti-money laundering, relationship management, everything in between, compliance or whatnot. So when I got into Canada, I started thinking, how do I apply this knowledge and skills that I'm bringing from my home country? Because this is just importation of knowledge and skills.
Yeah.
Which industry can I properly apply what I've learned and what I've brought into Canada? So I felt the easiest and most logical place would be the financial sector, either fintech, banks, whatever. So I got a job with my first real job was as an EDD analyst, that's enhanced due diligence analyst, but with a crypto company,
Wow.
right? So crypto was new to me, but that didn't deter me from, doing it. I felt, oh, this is another new level, should be something exciting. I focused on it. I learned as much as I could learn, and I enjoyed it. It was just a contract job. But with that contract job, that launched me into the Canadian financial space because it was now like, oh, this is the Canadian culture. You need to, the workplace ethics, the soft skills. Soft skills back home was not a thing. I got into Canada and I found out that, oh, you needed to, improve on your soft skills. You need to know how to talk to people. You need to understand body language and all that. So those were, stages in my work life
Transition.
transitioning process
Yeah.
that I had to, focus on and all that. So after that, I also got another job related to that, though in a compliance consultancy firm where they dealt majorly with crypto clients too. So you see, like I said, no knowledge is lost. The first company I worked with had crypto, job and experience, and I'm applying it to the new one I got. Then the most recent one, though not crypto, also in the financial sector.
Yeah.
So all the knowledge I've gained from Nigeria to the one I got in Canada are all working for me now. So don't ever think whatever you learn, it's always a learning process. Whatever you pick up from any stage of your life, you would come to apply it at a point. So just have that focus and look for certifications that will improve you. Like when I got into the finance industry in Canada, I started looking and making research on what qualifications or what certifications do I need to do. I need to go
Yeah.
back to school? Do I need to just take short courses? Do I need to do
Exactly.
certifications? And I found out that the ACAMS was a very popular one amongst, financial sector in Canada. And I went for it, you know. And I would always say, don't ever think whatever you learned back home can't be used. Most of everything, the questions and the experience, the scenarios, case
They
studies,
still
were
apply.
things, yes, that are done back home. So it
That's
was a
true.
win-win.
I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it also, it's good to know that you worked with Zenith Bank. I also worked with Zenith Bank as
Yeah.
well.
That's
So
good to know.
that's
So
a
what
good
do we
one.
call people that are from Zenith Bank?
Honestly, maybe the I don't know. I think they
We
have
didn't have a name. We just
yeah,
Zenith Bank staff. But
exactly. I think they have an association or something here
yeah.
because there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mostly in the financial industry as well, doing great.
Yeah.
So this is good. Just in case, is there anything that you would like to share that I haven't asked you that you think would be important to, people learning and
Yeah. Just still a way of motivation. While in Queen's College, there was a popular quote. It was everywhere, and most especially in the assembly hall. It was a quote by a poet, Henry Longfellow. It goes thus: the heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by a sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. Success is not overnight.
oh my
That's
goodness.
just the thing. You need to work at it. It's hard work. It's perseverance, everything in between. You just need to have the end goal in mind. So don't think I would wake up today and just be successful. No. You have to work for what you want. So that
Wow.
has stuck with me. You can imagine from my high school days till now, it's something that still, resonates with me. So
You
that's what
couldn't
I would
have
say.
said it better. Oh my God. Okay. As we wrap up in the Chronicles of a Professional, we have a game that we play as we end the podcast. Are you
Yeah.
ready for the game?
I think so.
Okay. I will
As
walk you
long as I
through.
win.
I'll walk you through the rule of the game.
Okay.
So let's do it. Okay, so I have these three cups here, and they each contain a question. So, and then there is a ball.
Wow.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna send this ball to you. Then you roll it.
Okay.
The idea is you're gonna hit one of the cups, whichever one. Then the question in there will be asked.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do
And
it.
you have 3 trials.
Oh, what if I don't hit any ball after the 3 trials?
The management will sit and
and,
reconsider.
and do an NPR. Okay, no worries.
So,
Let's do it.
in your area, you guys don't take any, like, you're always calculative and you don't want to leave any
Oh,
stone
okay.
unturned. So,
Breathe in, breathe out.
oh my goodness. That was a fantastic one. Okay. So I think that was for this cup.
Okay.
Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question here is, what's Abby's favorite Canadian food?
I'll just go with fries because that's the only thing I eat. I'm learning to eat other things, but most times it's the most familiar thing on there, so I just go with the fries.
Okay.
I've not tried the poutine or something.
Is fries actually Canadian food?
Well, I always see it on the menu, so I assume
Yeah.
it's something they
I think that
they
poutine
like to.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So just on the food aspect, what's your favorite Nigerian food?
I'm not so much of a foodie, but I would go for pounded yam and good vegetable soup.
Oh my goodness. Abby.
Honestly, that's what I'm craving right now. So,
Wow, that's good. That's good. Okay. Which country outside Nigeria and Canada would you like to visit?
I would love to go to Morocco just because, when
The
people go and they
ancient.
post the Asians thing, so many memories. So I'm looking forward to a time I would go there.
Fantastic. Okay. I know I can actually predict the answer to this one,
Oh, try
but I'm
me.
still going to ask you, who is your role model?
Ah, okay, so here it is. The way I see role model, like I have role models for different stages in my life.
Yeah.
There was a time that my role model was like a classmate in high school, maybe because the person was doing so well in a subject that I wasn't too good in. I would usually aspire to be like that person.
Yeah.
Same thing when I started working, it was my manager, a female manager that, she was smashing it in all
You want to
aspects.
say shout out to the person?
Yes, shout out to Jacqueline Yawa. She's a great mentor, and I admired her then, and I wanted to be like her. She didn't do any wrong in my eyes, if I'm allowed to
Wow.
say that. But then the overall role model, like you, I'm sure you're thinking that is my mom.
I know.
I've never seen a more resilient person in my life. Like, she was widowed at a very young age, but she didn't allow that to deter her. She fought and made sure all of our children were graduates and master's degree holders.
Wow.
That's a feat that even some people that have both parents couldn't achieve. And the positivity I talked about, she's the kind of person that you have a problem you think is very big in your head. The moment you tell her, she has a way of just, making everything go away. She's the kind of person that she sees good in everything. So I think I'm, following suit. My children would say every time I tell them, don't think of the bad side. What is the good in this thing? Be positive. Those are my favorite mantras. So my mom is my role model.
Fantastic. And the final question, if there is one thing you have power to change in Nigeria, what would that be?
Oh, I would want peace. I would want togetherness. I would want unity. I want everybody to be together. I don't want, oh, this person is this from here, this is from here. If I had the powers, I would want everybody to just live in harmony.
Fantastic. On this note, Abby, I would like to say thank you once again for making out time to be here.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate that.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.